Coach, can you tell us a little bit about when we heard you out there with the team, you have this call after you say hike. It's like, what is
That's
that?
a nervous tick.
Oh, okay.
That's a nervous, that's just me being excited, right? So when we're an individual and we're going, I go. If you notice, I'm right behind them when they're going. So it's a nervous tick. I've had it for forever, but it's about being intent and playing with some intensity.
George, obviously there's a very human element to what's transpired the last month. What has this process been like for you as far as the Ravens reaching out to you, joining the team, and just from a football standpoint, kind of joining this in the midst of it already being pretty ramped up?
That's a big question. First and foremost, I mean, the situation was tragic. Joe and I were both in the World League together. I'm not saying we were close friends, but we were very good acquaintances. If he had a question, he called me, I called him back. If I had a question, I called him, he called me back. So what happened here was tragic. The fact that John trusted me enough to call me, I'm impressed with that and grateful for that. But the situation I walked into, what Joe had done here, made it very, very easy. The group is well trained, they're very smart, they work their tails off, it's important to them, and that's what he did before I got here. That's what he built as a foundation. So the whole deal was tough, and we're just trying to make the best of it.
George, I mean, along those lines, I mean, how much of your job do you feel like is getting this offensive line kind of schematically ready to go, and how much is being there for guys who are probably pretty down still from loss?
Well, in terms of the football side of it, I mean, the situation doesn't matter. I mean, when you come in, you got to get guys ready to play, and the deal is you got to win games, right? In my opinion, for us to have a chance to win games, we have to be exceptional up front. We have to play hard, we got to play physical, we got to play smart. That's that part of it. The grief part of it, anybody that's dealt with death, I've dealt with it in my family. Everybody grieves differently. You just got to make yourself available to them when they're grieving. So I made myself available to them. If they need to call me, if there's certain guys that struggle, I'll reach out to them. But grief is different for every person that's dealing with it.
As far as the actual, the coaching aspect of it, and working with so many young players, I would expect the opportunity. You've got all these young pieces in some in new spots, and trying to it's really a chance to mold and help these young men grow into what you want to be. What's that process been like so far?
The first thing was me just trying to figure out what the foundation was, right? What they've been taught, how they communicate, what the schemes are. I've got a pretty good feel for that now, and so now it's just a matter of me getting them to function the way I want them to function. Some aspects is different than Joe's. Some aspects is very much the same, but just getting them to buy into that and to go about it that way.
George, in a similar vein, we're just getting to know you. How would you describe your coaching philosophy?
Intent, aggressive, and we want to be dominant. And so when we're at practice, we want to practice in that manner. We're an individual, we want to go about it in that manner. And when we play football, we want to play football in that manner.
Did your background with Todd also mean you had sort of a natural rapport with him coming in?
I love Todd. I'm so impressed with him. I was impressed with him in Tampa, and I'm more impressed with him since I've been here. The job he's doing, he's much different than he was in Tampa, how he calls the game, how he looks at the offense. So yes, him being here helped me be here, and then him being here is helping me adjust quite a bit.
George, I know there's such a source of frustration in the game about these illegal formation penalties that you guys got dinged up. I mean, are you pretty confident after looking at that all that's behind you guys, more or less?
I certainly hope so. I would say that was my fault, though, because I knew they were going to be sticklers about it. I didn't know how big a stickler there was going to be. All right? I mean, I thought in practice we had done a pretty good job of being legal, and apparently we didn't do a good enough job. So before I blame our players, it's my responsibility to make sure we're doing it right, and I didn't do a good enough job in that regard.
Beyond that element, what did you like about the offensive line's performance week one, and what would you like to see a focus on it cleaning up for going into week two?
I love the mentality and how we played. I thought they were physical. I thought they played the whole game. They never blinked, which gave us a chance at the end to have a chance to take it into overtime. I think technically we have to clean up some stuff. Those aren't big cleanups. It's just being consistent with footwork, being consistent with hand placement, and straining to finish a little bit more.
George, it looked like the Raiders spent a lot of time in week one lining up Christian Wilkins next to Max Crosby and over the right side of the line. Just how imposing a challenge is that, and what kind of what do you guys need to do to meet you?
Those are good players. I mean, and sometimes there's not much you can do but block them, right? So with 98, right, Crosby, they're going to move him all over the place. So it's based on the defense, based on the call, based on what they're in. He does like to play on the right side, and I'd say he's probably over there 75 to 80% of the time, but he will be on the left side. 94 is a good player as well. So we're going to do our best to scheme any way we can get to him to help those guys out. But at the end of the day, when it's third down and we're throwing the ball, we can't worry about where those guys are. We're going to worry about how we go about our business and us blocking them. So.